Hello everyone and welcome to the IFR class about Sorte Muld. My name is Ditte Kofod and I am a part of Bornholm's museum staff who will welcome you to Bornholm next summer. This is a recorded presentation, which means that in a moment I will turn off my video so you can all look at the PowerPoint presentation instead. I just wanted to say welcome and enjoy. So again, welcome to Sorte Muld, Metropolis in the Baltic region, and introduction. You are going to visit Bornholm, a small island in the Baltic Sea near Denmark. And here you can see the small island is called Burgenderland, which was the name it was known for in the Viking Age. But you can here see how it is placed compared to Denmark and Sweden. This is a more detailed picture of Bornholm, and here you can see the quantity of finds compared to the other Iron Age and Viking Age settlements in Scandinavia. And you can kind of see how Bornholm is hidden between the dot, because even though we are such a small island, we have a high quantity of finds. But if you look in the upper corner, you will see a zoom in of Bornholm, and the big red dot in the corner is where you are going to be next summer. That is Sorte Muld, close to a small town called Svaneke. Sorte Muld literally means black soil, and this picture gives you an idea how we found Sorte Muld. The black color derives from the accumulation of charcoal and organic materials, such from animal bones and fish bones, which have been accumulated over decades. And you can kind of also see how there are some grayish or blackish spots surrounding the area, which are surrounding communities to the Sorte Muld. Medieval sources mention that this place is also known as the Field of Gold because of the findings made there since early periods, and you will get a look at these metal finds later on. This is what Sorte Muld is known for. It's not just one settlement, but a whole community of smaller settlements which surrounds the center. So Sorte Muld covers an area of over 1 square kilometers with these surrounding satellite villages or settlements. And this is what makes Sorte Muld known as a central place, a center where people travel to trade with locals, but also how these surrounding settlements are known for a possible place where finds were produced and then brought into the center of Sorte Muld in order to trade them. This is a nice picture of the town Svaneke I mentioned earlier. In the upper right corner, you can kind of spot a field where you can see the black soil from Sorte Muld, and this shows you how close Sorte Muld is to Svaneke, but also how close it is to the natural coast, which was a good way for ships to get close by. This is showing Sorte Muld's location, which was not a coincidence. Being close to the coast gave them great opportunities for welcoming people to trade with. And this map illustrates where the coast became a natural berth or dock, as I told, where ships could get very close to the settlements by the coast and then travel further up into the settlement. The green you see on the map is the field and green fields surrounding the settlement, and the purple is the Sorte Muld area. And then you see the yellow spots near the coast, which are all the places where it was possible for ships to get near to the settlements. And then we have the blue dots and blue lines, which is the streams. So this gives you an overview of how Sorte Muld is placed to many natural resources, which make it a very good place to grow your settlement. Continuing on the talk about location, this is a map showing the altitude in the area, the red being the highest areas and the green the lowest. And there you can see again how Sorte Muld is placed on the very top. And you will also see that when you arrive, how Sorte Muld is placed on the top of a hill in a very hilly or wavy landscape. So it has a very nice view to the sea. Not just for the view, of course, but in order to stay safe and alerted, it was very important for you to have a good overview over the sea so they could stay noticed how or who people got close to the island in order to stay safe and alerted, whether it was traders or merchants or enemies approaching. This is a map showing the phosphate level at Sorte Muld, which has really helped us getting a nice overview of the activities happening and the high level of activities at Sorte Muld. The great amount of phosphate in animal bones and teeth affects the soil and indicate the many activities happening at the site. And you can see how the highest level of phosphate, which means the highest level of activities, is connected to where you saw at slide 5, where this how the settlement is surrounding Sorte Muld in the center. So you can see all the places where there are red and deep orange colors means that was the highest levels of activities. And then you have a lower level with all the yellow. And the black dots are metal finds. This shows how metal finds are distributed through different periods. The level is already high in Iron Age, in the Roman Iron Age, as you can see, and again how they connect to the different communities. We continue on to Germanic Iron Age, where you can see the level of finds, metal finds, are getting higher. And this is because the most intense use of the area occurred during the Iron Age, especially from the Roman Iron Age to the late Germanic Iron Age, when Sorte Muld was the regional center acting as a unifying force for the surrounding community. Then in the Viking Age, you can now see how it looks like the finds are now getting smaller and more spread around the area. That is because during the Viking Age, the settlement was now reduced in size, divided into smaller settlements, but still located near the center of Sorte Muld. This does not necessarily mean that it was losing its value, just that the communities now were splitting up. This is showing the inner temple of Sorte Muld, which have been a great way for us to see what happened. And this is especially interesting because this is where a lot of the metal finds were surrounding. This is the outer line of the temple on Sorte Muld, which is believed to have been visited for sacrifices or important rituals. This can be observed through the materials we have recovered from the topsoil over the years, as well as results from early excavations. For example, a lot of gold figurines, which you will get a look at later on. During the first season of 2019, it was possible to detect the outer limits of the main temple, which are the black lines you can see under all the blue dots. And it was a part of the ongoing excavation in the main temple, and its structure led us to the decision to excavate the main temple and its longhouses close to the temple, which are the yellow squares you can see surrounding it, which is possible to believe they have had connections to the temple. The blue dots are the metal finds, which you can see centers around the temple, as well as the blue dots also symbolize the gold finds. And the yellow square to the south in the bottom of the picture are the Viking houses, which you will have a look at when you arrive here. This is the gold figurines that Sorte Muld is best known for. There has been found over 2,000 of these small gold foil figures called guldgubbe, which translate to gold man. They illustrate various figures from animals to warriors, but they also show women, couples, and sometimes trolls. They play a big part in our studies of the activities which occurred on this rich settlement. You can also see in the right corner that there are some silver gubbe found on the settlement. This is just to show you the earlier excavation which has happened at the site. The red squares are the first excavation happened on the site, the first big excavation happening at the site in the 80s, led by Margrethe Watt. And besides that, there is a long square which is called Felt 1, meaning Area 1, where at 2019 excavation we're trying to see what could be found in the inner section of the temple and trying to see if we could learn more about what had happened. And then to the right, you see a smaller square called Felt 2, which is Area 2, where Aarhus University tried to find the outer fence of the temple and see if we could learn what had happened at that side of the temple. This is a GPR model, a geophysical method which used radar pulses to image the subsurface. And this magnetic map of the site done during recent prospection showed us the interesting anomalies in the highest central area of the southern and northern parts. And that is how you can actually see in the middle there are some disturbance which connect to where Sorte Muld is placed in the center. It also shows important features that has not yet been excavated. This is a general view of the site that overlaps all the information available after service, where GPR analysis, topographic mappings, prospections, sampling, and the metal finds are shown. It shows the area covered by the project so far and considers the center of the settlement and its surrounding structures. This is a more close-up of the central section from the previous map. Here it's possible for you to observe on detail the main structures of the site. Again, we have the yellow squares, which shows you the longhouses, as well as the gray outer lines of outer fence of the temple. It's possible to see how the longhouses are placed near the center and could possibly have belonged to a main family of the site. And the overlapping of structures is due to the different stages of construction through times and modifications the building had, which connects to how you saw that Sorte Muld has been used through multiple periods. The image also shows the areas where the excavation were made. You see the red squares and the blues is from the earlier slides I talked about, our previous excavations, but also which sections they are planned to do in the next seasons. This is a little close-up of some of the finds showing what have been going on Sorte Muld. As I said, most of the gold figurines shows warriors, which could prove that there had been an army present at Sorte Muld. And you see the gold man to the right, which is a man with a raised arm and a sword in his hand, looking ready for battle. As well as the man to the left is a drawing of a guldgubbe, where a man with a spear and what could possibly look like a crown or maybe a helmet is ready for battle. And the gold knob in the middle is from a sword found on Sorte Muld, which means that there wasn't only an army, but possible a very rich army at the site. This is some more normal finds, which proves how the trading has happened at the site. We have some Roman glass which are imported, and in the lower corner you see amber, which was very popular to trade with in the Baltic region. And then in the upper right corner we have combs, needles, and spindle wheels made of bones and antlers. And you can see how many pieces of them are finely decorated, which were very appreciated wear at Sorte Muld. And what is interesting is that it has been proven that the combs were actually produced at one of the surrounding settlements and then brought into Sorte Muld's center to be traded with the outsiders. And in the lower right corner, we have lots of glass beads. And these are also interesting because they had a very high value because of the great amount we have found on Sorte Muld, but it was not yet possible to produce glass on the site. And therefore, they were a very interesting item to show how your standards or with the how you like to have to own nice things, since we have found so many of them. This is a small bronze horse which was found on the very last day of the 2019 excavation. It's illustrating how, like the gold men, this figurine proves how the horse was an appreciated and important animal at the time. Here you have some ceramics. This is just to show you the typical ceramics decorations from the Iron Age found at Sorte Muld. More gold finds. We have a lot of nice things from the site. To the left you see gold pieces from necklaces. In the middle we have more gold figurines, and these you can see how they are crumbled, which are how we find most of the guldgrube for some reason, which could show us how they were destroyed for some reason, maybe part of a ritual or to be thrown out. The last piece to the right is a golden piece from a necklace of some sort, but this one is decorated with a red gemstone called garnet. And this is especially interesting because it was used to decorate necklaces, weapons, or even horseware. And we have found some of the red stones at the settlement. This is a gold necklace found in 2001 in the Sorte Muld area, including some golden coins we called brakteater. And on these golden coins, there are pictures of the Nordic gods Odin, Loki, and Balder, which could show us how the beliefs have at some point been to the Nordic gods at the site. This is a nice sunny day at the excavation, and you can see how the working station is going to be. You have the excavation at the top of the picture, and then you can see all the containers we have surrounding the white tent. That is our workstation where after we have excavated the finds and the soil, we sieve it, we wash it, we sort it, and then we register it, all happening at the site in order to get this flow, so you get a feeling of what happens with the find from the excavation to the registrations. That was all I had for now. I hope you enjoyed it. I will then see you at the Q&A, and stay safe.